all of us go through so much bullshit, whether it's our disabilities, whether it's anything, all our struggles. And I feel like it is how we create the life that we want and design for us. You can choose it. You can choose what you want for yourself. You can choose to always be happy. Yes, we are not going to always be happy. We'll have our bumps in here and there, but how are you going to go about it though? Are you always going to be fucking crying and be depressed and be in that dark space? No, I choose not to. And I'm choosing to always wanting to live.
Mara, welcome to the See-Through podcast.
Hi, what's up?
I'm excited to talk with you.
I'm so excited. I'm honestly very, very excited. I'm honored, actually more honored to be part of your podcast because I've seen you around, man. I've seen you around.
Likewise, yeah, I've been following your content for a long time.
I'm happy to be here.
And I'm excited to kind of dive into your world and to let everyone kind of get some insight into your life.
Yeah.
With that said, I'll let you give yourself an introduction to people who are new to you.
Well, I am Mara. I'm 41. I'm from Toronto. I am a legally blind wife, mom, woman, and I'm a TV reporter, content creator. I can actually say that. It's weird, but I just usually say I'm just me. I'm just me being me, and I'm just chilling. I'm Mara. It's just so weird, right? It's weird when people say content or influencer, and I don't know. I'm just me.
Yeah. I kind of hide behind the title podcaster, because like I'll make a bunch of content, but I'll never say like I'm a content creator. I'm like, I'm a podcaster, but technically I'm a content creator.
Yeah, you are.
But I like to use the word podcaster more because it doesn't feel as cringe,
Yeah. But I feel like we need to normalize it as what people are telling me. But I don't know. I mean, I just always say, I'm just me. I'm just here to just share it all. And, and in hopes that if someone can relate, someone wants to be friends, I don't know. I'm just here.
Yeah, I saw in an interview you did where you said, I'm not really a content creator. I'm more of a friend.
Yes, because, well, my platform's name is, my handle is Ate Mara. So it's not 8 Mara, it's Ate. It's
I'll be honest with you, that's what I thought.
That's what you thought. I knew it. I should change my bio for that. You know what it is because I'm Filipino, and in the Philippine language, Tagalog, Ate means big sister. So my brother, my sister, and whoever, they call me Ate Mara, and it's known for big sister. And I feel like when I started my whole journey with my platform is that I kept that name because when people reach out to me, when people want to just connect and talk and build that friendship and that connection. And for many years, I've built many, many friendship all around the world. And I just like to call myself Ate Mara now because not just with my family in general, but with everybody. And the big sister friend is what it stands for. And I'm your friend. Like I'm your big sister that's always going to be here to just be there for you at whatever you need, right? And especially in our world, being a disabled woman and disabled person, it's just hard to really connect with someone, and unless you actually know what you're going through. So I just kept that name, Ate Mara, as my handle because I am that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that a lot of things are clicking.
And making sense. No, it's not 8. It's not 8. It's Ate Mara.
Well, that makes great sense, Yeah, and you have built quite a following on Instagram, and you have a lot of really cool posts, and I love your captions you write too, because you're very honest in your captions.
Well, I mean, we got to be honest with each other. We got to be fully raw and authentic, and I share it all. I mean, I do keep some things private, but majority of the time it is very real and very honest and raw. And that's how you connect with some people, with everybody, I feel like. And if people don't like the vibe, then I'm not for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you're not feeling what I feel, then I'm not for you. But there are a lot of people that can relate, especially in our community, in my community. And whether you're a mom or you're a legally blind person and just dealing with so many things. Like, you got to be honest. This is what it's for.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I try to do, with this podcast, is have like authentic kind of conversations. They're kind of unscripted, unprovoked. And I try to bring people on that will give me that kind of in return,
Of course.
So I think you're a perfect fit. One thing I wanted to say about your page and your content is you always have the really cool outfits. Like you have great fashion.
Oh my gosh.
There'll be pictures of you with your white cane and you have like really sleek looking outfits on. And you make the cane look good,
Well, you know what it is? Our cane is it's one of my best friends. It's saved my life for so long, right? And the funny thing is about this, Lance, is that I've always been this type of person where I don't even know if you want whatever you want to call it in terms of with the fashion world, right? I've always wanted I've always just been put together, if that makes sense. Like I like to always look and feel good. And this was before even being diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa. Yeah. And it's not for the gram. Like it is not for when you see me in real life, the way I talk, the way I dress, this is legit me. It is never for any type of platform for show. Like when you meet me, I am that extra, crazy, funky, whatever you want to say. This has always been me. So it's, some people, is she doing this? Blah, blah. No, it's just how I really am. And I feel like this is why I always say you have to be real. Whoever you are off cam or off your platform, that's how you should really be though. Because there are a lot of fakes out there. I mean, in terms of things, but there are a lot. And I feel like if I'm this way, I can connect more to people.
Yeah.
And I can build that friendship. I could build so many things with different, with everybody. You just have to be real. And this is me. So that's why when people say, oh, is that really, last year or 2 years ago, I did a documentary about my life. And somebody asked me, one of the producers asked, asked my husband, how is Mara off camera or off the stories from social media and Instagram? What you see is what you get. She is the same way what you see on social and off cam type of thing. Because it's just me. I mean, I love that fashion. I love to look, whatever I'm wearing, I just like to feel good. And whether, right?
I always say, look good, feel good. Like, it's like a mentality thing. If you're really liking your outfit, you're like,
and people may not.
And you're like, oh yeah, I look sharp today. You're going to walk around feeling sharp. You're going to walk around feeling nice, And
I mean, some people may not.
People underestimate fashion and how it can help you, make you feel more confident and make you feel better about yourself, I think. Yeah.
Or there's a certain look that people be like, but you are a disabled person. Why do you look like that? But how is a disabled person supposed to look though? That's another thing. Like that's one of the things that really, really pisses me off. Are we allowed to say those type of things here?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay, cool. So like, I just don't like how the world sees us, where it's like, you look a certain way. I feel like you're faking it. You can't look like that because you're supposed to be this type of way. But is there what is it with a disabled person that we can't look a certain way? Like, you know what I mean? It's like you're
legally blind. You can't be out shining me with your outfits.
Exactly. And I mean, that's another. It's yes, it is. It is, and it is annoying. But same time, I just walk out and I'm like, well, it is what it is. And I always say, I've been saying a lot lately where I feel like I'm the shit. When I say I'm the shit, it means I feel good.
Yeah.
I own it. I own everything that I've gone through in life. And that's a huge part of me, is being legally blind.
Well, let's talk about that. So you are legally blind with RP, and you also have Usher syndrome, right?
Yes, I do. Shortly after being diagnosed with RP, maybe 5 years after, because I started noticing some things with my hearing, and even my husband and my family is like, you can't hear that, or, they're talking to me. They're like, why are you always talking so loud, this and that? And I went back to my specialist and I said, I feel like something's wrong. There's always this ringing sound happening. And after that, there was like many tests that was being done, and then finally figured out that it is Usher as well. And that's another thing I don't talk about a lot, maybe because not that I haven't fully accepted it. It's just that I was in a very dark space when I was diagnosed with RP. And it took a toll with a lot of things where I didn't want to honestly live life. And when I say I don't want to live, I tried many times to take my life away, and I was very suicidal at one point. It is, no one really understands the things that we go through. And the doctors that you meet along the way are never good sometimes.
Yeah.
So until I landed a very compassionate doctor, those times were very dark for me. So, I just, now that learning about Usher as well, I kind of just go through the emotions where I should talk about it a lot more. But it's one of those things where I'm in a really, really good state now where with my disabilities, yes, I have Usher and this and that, but we all know that it is related to RP. So it's one of those things as well where, that feeling of like, I've accepted it. I don't want to have to like go back. I'm just afraid to always have to go back to that dark space. And I'm still in the middle of processing of like many tests of like, okay, well, when is it time to really find that perfect hearing aids, or what else can we do, and this and this and that. And we all know how those doctor appointments go. There's never that good news.
Yeah, they're never fun, are they?
They're never fun. They're never fun. There's always some bad shit that goes on. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm just very afraid to fall back into that very dark space, because I'm in a good position now with my well-being, my mental health, where I've accepted it. There's nothing we can do right now. So in terms of no cure, no treatment. So what do? I just have to keep it moving and keep living my life the way it is now. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If that makes any sense. I got emotional there for a little bit.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. I mean, it's probably a lot for you because, you seem to have this really bright personality, and it's probably strange for you to reflect on being in such a dark place. It's kind of goes against who you are. And I think that's probably why it makes you so sad, if I had to just guess.
I'm sure you felt it too. It is sad. And as much as I can say I'm in a good position or a good state now, tomorrow could be different. And this is what it is. And I always talk about, with our disabilities and our condition, we're going through grief. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And grief, as we all know it, whether it is losing a loved one and so on, and we lost this independence in some point. So I feel like sometimes we're always grieving, because it's an up and down journey, right? Some days will be okay. Some days we're, oh my gosh, I got hit with something very hard about my condition and I'm feeling it. I feel like shit today.
Yeah.
And I feel sad.
Yeah, there's an ups and downs. There's like an ebb and flow. You'll have a great month, and then out of nowhere you'll have a shit week. And it's kind of like you never know what's going to trigger something that's going to throw off your week, or something that's going to make your week great. But life is unpredictable even without a disability, and then you throw vision loss in there.
Yeah.
And it just kind of makes it more unpredictable. I think it's just a whole nother obstacle course that we're navigating that other people are not navigating.
Yeah. And that's what it is.
You talk about grief, and, I hear this a lot where it's like you're grieving the life that you thought you were going to have.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people with disabilities, or newly diagnosed disabilities, especially, they have this idea in their mind before they're diagnosed of how their life's going to play out. And then when they get a diagnosis, they feel like all that's thrown in a trash can. And then you kind of have this identity crisis. All right, well, who am I going to be?
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you about that because you've pulled yourself out of that dark place. I know every now and then, you know, you have ebbs and flows of emotions, but you know, you went from being suicidal to being a happy, you know, mom and wife and person and friend, and you know, and now you share, you know, that kind of spirit you have that you've learned to kind of get back along the way. Now you share it through your content. And I wanted to ask you, like, if you have any advice for people who are trying to get out of that dark spot, you know, or maybe share, like, even though your life is not what you expected, but it's still amazing, you know, because I think that's a message that a lot of people need to hear.
And I love sharing this part. I mean, I'm going to go back just a little bit from when I was diagnosed. So when I was fully diagnosed, 2011, oh my gosh, I was just newly engaged. And that was a heavy one because I think maybe that's why, sorry, I just got so emotional.
No worries.
I think the reason why it took a lot on me as well is because I was newly engaged and this has happened. And the doctor wasn't amazing, just completely told me, you're going blind. There's nothing we can do. And at that moment, I was with my husband and my mom. And, you know, there's a lot of things that you got to weigh out. And there's no cure, there's nothing that they can do. So the understanding is that this is for the rest of my life. You can go completely blind. You can definitely lose more vision, which I did over the years. I've lost a lot more vision. And one of the things that I did back then had to really, really ask is I asked my husband now that I said, would you still want to marry me? That's one of the things that I really had to go over with him. The reason why I did ask is because, like you said, we have this vision of how our life will be. And then we get hit with this diagnosis of this life-changing thing that we have to deal with for the rest of our life. So when I asked him that, it was only because we are spending the rest of our life together. But in my mind, what is the quality of life are we going to have? Mm-hmm. And the understanding of having children, like our kids can have it too. And just the many things, the what ifs, all this fucking bullshit that our minds are going through, right? And one of the things that he did say when I was in that very dark space of not wanting to fucking live was, you are the only one that will be missing out on life. Because life and the world still moves on. But if you continue to go in that wrong path, you are the only one that's going to be losing out and missing out on the beauty of life. So I had to think about it for a good while and started to make some changes. Fast forward to now, or, even marrying him and then also having a family now, having our son. I always tell people, if I really did give up, I wouldn't have the life. It's not even extravagant life, but to me it is extravagant because I always say it is the life that we create, right? All of us go through so much bullshit, whether it's our disabilities, whether it's anything, all our struggles. And I feel like it is how we create the life that we want and design for us. So whatever I am doing with myself right now and how I want to look at it the way I want it to look at it or create it is because of me. It's my own thinking of, what do I want for myself? What do I want for my family? What is my purpose? Because it's just how we all look at it though. You can choose it. You can choose what you want for yourself. You can choose to always be happy. Yes, we are not going to always be happy. We'll have our bumps in here and there, but But how are you going to go about it though? Are you always going to be fucking crying and be depressed and be in that dark space? No, I choose not to. It's our choices. It's how we create the journey, the story that you want for yourself. And I'm choosing to always wanting to live. It may not be great. It may not be happy, but I'm trying to not give up. I think I'm very emotional because I was never hit with something heavy as, yes, hearing about our diagnosis and being diagnosed with something heavy as retinitis pigmentosa, Usher. But when I say our lives is just a bunch of struggles and it's all how we want to go about it. When I lost my mom, that is the most heavy thing I've ever had to deal with in my life. And I choose to live because I have a son, I have a family, I have my brother and my sister, I have my dad here still and my husband's family and my friends. I need to choose to make my mom happy and continue to live for her, to honor her, and to make my life better for myself, right? I could have chosen 2 years ago to really also not live because a part of me, my mom was a big part of me and I feel very empty without her. But yeah, you think about, is that the kind of life you want? To just give up?
Yeah.
So this is what I mean. You need to figure out how you're going to create that life of yours. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It doesn't have to be this and that. It's just choosing to always choose yourself, choose to be happy, choose to be strong in many ways, and able to just continue living.
It's very powerful.
And not many people know and understand that.
No, I agree with everything you said and appreciate you opening up like that. Dealing with grief, I lost my dad recently.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
That was really hard. I'm still processing that. But yeah, there's certain things that happen in your life that are kind of like, game changers for your life.
Yes.
Like you're never going to be the same after this,
Yep.
So, my dad passing was one of those. So, I relate to that when you talk about, your mom. And then there's other family things. Being diagnosed, like you talked about, is also another one of those things that just changes you. Luckily for me, I was younger in age when I was diagnosed. So I was my head was in the clouds. It didn't quite sink in.
Yeah.
I wasn't, engaged like you were and, had to process it as an adult. Cause I don't know how I would, I'd probably be in the same boat you were, and go into a really dark place.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely no shame in going to a dark place. I think the important part of your story is the fact that, you were able to reevaluate and regroup. And then, like you said, life goes on. So you either have to keep living or not keep living. And if you didn't make that conscious decision, you wouldn't be where you are today and have, your son and your family.
I know.
And you wouldn't be, like you said, making, your mom proud, so it is a decision.
I'm always forever grateful for where I am, where I get to be here with my family. But along the way, I am very, very thankful. And if I gave up, I honestly wouldn't have met so many incredible people within our community, or even just many, many amazing people to really help me out.
Yeah.
And I'd be missing out on life, like, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of the, blindness community is it's really tight knit and there's a lot of great people in there.
Amazing people.
Because I think the people that seek it out, because there are people in the blindness community who kind of keep to themselves. They're more of a loner type of person.
Yeah.
But the people that seek out the community, you know, they're kind of wanting to feel connected. They're kind of wanting to learn from others. You know, they're kind of trying to grow. You know, that's kind of like an intention of theirs.
Yeah.
I think if you're seeking out like community online, because I think, you're not going to hear from the people who are, you know, still hiding their disability or not processing, you know, their vision loss or diagnosis. Going back a bit, you know, you talked about, you know, when you were diagnosed, you were engaged.
Yeah.
And you asked your now husband, you know, like, do you still want to marry me? Because you were worried about the quality of life.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, like, how wrong were you
I was
with that thought process? Because the brain, I don't know what it is. It's like, it's our friend, but sometimes it's our enemy.
It is our fucking enemy. It is. I feel like that noise or that part of the brain is just so strong sometimes.
Yeah.
And it plays around and it's so freaking weird, man.
Yeah.
But
sometimes you got to try to prove your brain wrong. You're like, I'll show you.
No, that's what it is.
You know,
and
you want to put these bad thoughts in my mind. Well, I'll prove you wrong. And you're proving yourself wrong at the end of the day. But it's like, but it feels like you have this like 1,000 inner voices, and it's your mind kind of just telling you, I don't know what it is. If it's like anxiety,
it is part
warning you.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't know what it is. Is it a warning signal? It's trying to just raise awareness of potential things that you need to be conscious of so you can adapt to it. So maybe it's causing pain, but in the long term, it's like letting us figure out how to not have the pain. I don't know. But either way, at first it's like brutal, and it's like, you have to prove your own voice wrong.
Exactly. Well, this is why we can talk about all this, so many things about this, but I'm going to bring up, this is why mental health is very important, right? And there's a lot of people with suicidal thoughts. It's because of that fucked up voices that plays around that wants you to believe that whatever they're telling you, it is the truth.
Yeah.
And
sometimes you really feel like it is the truth. And like
it really
you're
is.
You're almost like so certain. You're like, yeah, that's right. That's my voice in the head is right.
Well, that's why at that time when I asked my husband, I'm like, would you still want to marry me? And he looked at me and he was just like, yeah, why not? Like, he flat out said, why not? We can still do what we wanted to do or we plan to do. Simple walks, travel, have a family. Like, he legit looked at me and was like, why not?
Yeah.
Because my thinking was more like, this is for the rest of our life, though. That what if that time or more vision will be, taken away? Are you able to really be here for me and to take care of me and our family? Because it's a lot. It's a lot on them too, right? And as much as it's a lot on us, the people that love us, is also a lot on them. And I was really, really being mindful of, how are you going to take this?
Yeah. I think when you love somebody, because I feel the same way. Whenever I told my now wife, and it's like, I think when you love somebody, it's like, you want them to have the best possible life, and you feel like you're going to detract from their life because you're going to make their life harder, and you don't feel like your value, like you almost feel like your value went down from your diagnosis. So therefore you're giving them a bad deal.
Exactly.
Even though in their eyes, if they love you, then they're like, it's for you and who you are. But you forget that because you kind of picture yourself as like this marketable package that you need to sell to someone. Oh, now I'm a defective product.
Yeah, 100%.
You're going to want to you're going to want to buy a new product so you don't have to deal with these defaults. But we're not products, we're people, and we have a lot of dimension to ourselves. We have really rich personalities and just kind of energies that we put off, and we provide comfort and support, and we know what to say, and we know their life stories, we know how to help them and their personalities. There's a lot that of other parts of the product, if you want to consider us a product, that are good selling points, but we tend to like throw all those in the trash can and not think those are worth anything.
Yeah.
And put way too much emphasis on, vision.
I feel you. I feel you on all of it. And plus, you know what it is too? When I say the quality of life as well, it's more so where, my gosh, it's like, what am I going to bring to the table in this marriage, this life? Because I was already thinking about, I won't be able to work. I won't be able to like just provide.
Yeah.
Or even take care of our children, let's say, right? Like at that time, I was like, how am I going to do it? But can you imagine, like, fast forward 13 years now, and it's like, I'm here and I'm loving it. When I say I love it is because like I'm very, very I'm so thankful that I didn't give up, because I would be missing out on so many beautiful things. It is fucking hard. Everything is hard, but oh my gosh, like look at me and you. We're with our, partners and just living the life the best way we can.
Yeah. The future is so scary. Especially if you're an anxious person, and I consider myself an anxious person. I
am very, very anxious. And I was talking about it with somebody about it when I was doing another project. I think because of our disabilities, I became even more anxious.
Oh, yeah. I think that's real.
Oh my gosh. Like I have to always make sure where I'm going is like this, or make sure I plan ahead, or I move ahead of everything that I'm doing around the house, let's say, or have to be out. I've just been very, very anxious with everything in life is because of what I'm dealing with. And that's another topic that we can probably discuss, but a lot of us are probably the same way, right?
I agree. I think so.
Being in a different environment, having to, I don't freaking know, man. Every time I have to be somewhere, I have to make sure that I ask questions. Is this going to be safe for me? I got to figure out how, if I have to, let's say, commute, is it easy access to the subway, easy access to the bus?
Yeah.
Because if somebody can't pick me up, or somebody, I don't know. Our brain is just another thing.
And I think even if you're diagnosed and you still have a lot of vision intact, you start to try to plan like, well, how long can I do when will my career end? When will I be, it's like, and you think about how expensive life is now.
Oh my gosh.
And you're like, well, I technically need a job until I'm like 65 or whatever the age is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what can I do as my vision digresses until I'm 65? And then you're like, you try to like build this life around you that you can kind of scale into the future.
Oh, 100%.
Which people do anyways. But I think with people with RP and, they even have to factor that in even more. It's like, how can I make my life scalable? And then it kind of limits your options, whereas everyone else has more options. It's like, well, if times get rough, I can just drive Uber, where that's not like a thing that we can do. We can't just like be a bartender or a server or a barista.
Can you imagine?
Or an Uber driver, So these quick jobs that you want to pick up just aren't available. So financially,
it's not available financially yet.
Yeah. So financially, you're, and a lot of stress in general just comes from finances, So I think that's a big obstacle. But I was going to say, like, imagine if someone were able to show you when you were diagnosed like a picture of your life now. And your family, and you have like a smile on your face.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is a picture from your future. Like, chill out.
If that did exist, it would have saved me about 2.5 years of just being cooped up in our home, crying, eating, and just feeling so sorry for yourself. Like, I really
Yeah.
did miss out a lot on those years. But I mean, everyone has their own time, right? And I wasn't ready to accept anything yet. And everyone goes through this, and
People think there's like hacks, like, oh, well, I can avoid that period. I think that period, while it was frustrating that it took so long,
yeah,
I think it had to happen for whatever that needed to happen to click in your mind.
it had to happen.
It's unfortunate that it took years,
Yeah,
because unfortunately, no one is going to hand you a picture from 10 years
exactly.
later. So, and then in your mind, can be your enemy, and it's telling you everything that picture isn't. And your
Exactly.
mind's showing you a picture of you like homeless, like you're alcoholic and
I
you
know.
have no family, no friends, and you're like wandering around and can't get anywhere.
And I think with that time that passed and allowed me to just kind of process and deal with it is part of living in this life. This is part of my journey. And we all have that. We all have a story. We're all going through our own journey. And if that didn't happen, I would have never even realized and really took things in. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where we have to allow ourselves to really go through the emotions, go through everything that we're dealing with and process it our own way. And it could take a long time. It could take a short time. It doesn't matter. But it is my journey though. That's why. And we learn from everything that we're dealing with. And you take that things that you've learned and you process it and how are you going to go now about life and figure it all out? And it's just all lessons, right? And
Yeah.
I had to go through it in order for me to really realize that, oh shit, like I am the only one that's going to be missing out on many things. And if I did listen to those noises and if I did give up, then I wouldn't be where I am. So that's just my journey. And we all have a story. And my story is very, very up and down. But that's the beauty of life. Life isn't perfect.
Yeah.
It's just how you go about it.
Oh, 100%. And I think, when people say, you're an inspiration, it's kind of makes you cringe a bit. But it's like, you are living proof that someone in a dark place can pull themselves out of it and build a family life that is fulfilling. And, it kind of lets me think of this thing. My sister shared something with me. I don't know if I should say it publicly, but she said her therapist told her, like, if you're going to let your brain think of the worst case scenario,
Yeah.
then you also have to allow yourself to think of the best case scenario.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the most likely scenario. So like you can't just let your brain focus on the worst case scenario. You got to allow yourself to think of all the other possibilities. Because again, you got to kind of remind yourself, you got to keep your brain in check because sometimes it'll try to discourage you,
Well, this is why I always say, I think my therapist said the same thing, pretty much the same thing. And
okay. It's solid advice. I like it.
I like it too. And this is,
Yeah.
so I did a job in Vancouver and they were laughing, not laughing at me, but they were laughing with me when I kind of was saying, I have this thing lately. I feel like it's been lately because like I said, losing my mom was like a heavy thing, right? And I had to really process everything that I've been going through in my life so when I tell people that I am the shit, not because it's not about being vain or anything like that or cocky, is the fact that I was talking to my therapist about this, is because I look at my life, and you should always look at your life where you've been through so much. Like I've been through so much in my life and my gosh, and it's only 40, I've only been here 41 years, but I feel like I've been through so much where why can't I feel like I am the shit? I can walk out there and feeling like I've been through it. What else is life going to give me that I won't be able to handle?
Yeah.
So of course I feel like I'm this and I'm that because fuck, I have been through so much in life. it knocked me
Let's
down.
go.
Right? And
No, I
people
love
should
that.
always look
Yeah.
at that. I mean, look at your life. Look at how far you've come. You're standing here today because you made it. You made it to today, to wake up and be like, oh my gosh, I'm alive.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with myself today? You know? And I'm always a firm believer of always celebrating life, whether you are just chilling at home, having a good snack and being like, oh my gosh, I'm alive today. And I'm going to just, do whatever, feeling good.
Yeah.
Because it took a lot for you to even make it to today. And I always tell myself, that is why I feel like I'm the shit, because you don't know what it took to get to where I am.
Yeah.
No one knows that but yourself. That's why I'm able to just tell everybody, whether you like it or not, I feel this way. I feel very good to come this far. Whether that's dealing with my disabilities, dealing with many, many things life has to bring, and even losing my mom.
Yeah.
And you have to honor yourself, and you have to celebrate yourself in many ways, because man, life is hard and you're making it happen.
Yeah, you have to celebrate your wins,
Yeah. And I mean, and the thing is that here's another thing that my therapist said is that why are we always so focused on the negative? Why can't we need to normalize that we need to really scream out that, oh my gosh, like this happened to me today. Whether it may be small for you, but it's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
And I always celebrate that. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was able to travel, took many subway rides and this and that. And I'm winning today because I did it all by myself. Something so simple to other people, but it's a huge thing for people like us. And people should always look at it that way, where I did something awesome. And maybe to you, it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal to us.
Oh yeah, it's a major deal. And I am the shit. I'm gonna start saying that to myself.
I know. I was telling that. I've been sharing that.
I'm gonna steal that from you.
You should steal it, because people don't understand is that why are you the shit? Not because of the way you look or whatever. It's because fuck, I have been through so much that I can tell you right now that I am owning it. I am this and this and that, because you've been through so much, and you should be very, very honored and feeling blessed and lucky that we're here.
1000%. Yeah, perfectly said. I don't feel like I can add anything to that. I'll just say what you said.
Yeah, Lance, you're
my
making it
addition
happen. You're the bomb. Like, you are just, you are here today, and we're here having a good time. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, we are. We're getting emotional.
I know. I'm an emotional person. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm angry. I just cry and I laugh a lot. Yeah. And that's the beauty about life,
I don't know what it is, if it's like me aging, but I find it's way easier to get there, in terms of a tear here and there, It can be like a song. Like I'll hear a song and just be like, oh, it just will move. Stuff will move me way more than it used to. You know? I think because now, like, the meaning of art and like song lyrics or a movie, it's like, I think now harder. That I have more wisdom in my life, that really I've experienced more things.
And you're growing.
So now when so when I see something or hear something that really resonates with me, it will like truly hit me in a way that it really didn't used to. Which I think there's a lot of difference between, how you process RP and your visual impairment.
Yeah.
Earlier in life versus later in life.
Oh my God.
I also feel like when you age, you become more like, I don't give a shit. Like, it's almost like when you're young, you really care so much about what other people
are
think.
thinking.
And the older you get, the more you're like, I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks, and it's kind of freeing.
Well, maybe that's why I always say I'm the shit, because I really don't give a fuck what people say, what people think, because no one knows what I'm dealing with. No one knows what we've all been through, right? That's why you're allowed to say that you're the shit, like I am. But I think more so part of all why things hit us harder now and resonates with us, because we're growing, we're getting older. And as we get older, as we get, we're getting wiser, we're able to experience a lot more in life. whether that's dealing with a lot of things with their disabilities. And, we've encountered a lot of things. I've encountered many things in my 13 years of being diagnosed with RP. And, the world is very cruel, but there's also a lot of good people. And that is why when I say my journey is that, and things hit me hard, I'm more emotional than I am, years ago, is because, you've experienced many things, and that's the whole part of growing and getting older, and who knows what else is to come, but that's what it is. A simple song comes on and I'm like, oh my gosh, that either hits me because it's how I felt when this happened with my disability, and,
Yeah.
or losing a parent, or going through postpartum depression, so many things, right? And that's the beauty about life.
Yeah. Oh, 1000%.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you too on that note. You said postpartum depression. Having a child, as being a legally blind mother, what is that like? And how does it affect your dynamic with your husband and son?
Well, you know what? You have to, I always tell people, you have to do what's best for you and what's comfortable for you.
Yeah.
And so at first, obviously, I was so terrified because the specialist was like, if you ever want to have a kid, there is a high chance that you will lose more vision during pregnancy. And
oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know. It's crazy because I did a post about it, and some women, they had that same conversation.
I think Mary Kay mentioned something about that.
Yes, she did.
Yeah,
and another, one of my other friends, she's from Chicago, Robin, she actually said the same thing as well. And I was also mind blown about that when I heard that news, and then it actually happened to me. But anyways, moving forward, you get very scared. You're always scared. And then, but it's like, what are you going to do about that situation though? Like, I can't be scared being a mom, and I just take it day by day, and you got to do what's comfortable for you. So I like the fact that my son understands ever since he was young that my white cane is right by the door. There is nothing to be around the floor. Make sure you put things where it goes. Things have to be at a certain way. Not because I'm anxious, it's because, for example, the remote control or something, it needs to go back to where it goes. There is nothing.
Or else you won't find it.
Yeah. Or there's nothing to be around. The whole little toys on the floor. No, my house, you need to put your toys away.
Yeah.
Because if I step on that or and so on, it will hurt me, and you don't know what can happen. And he has the understanding that mommy can't see well. So he helps when, he knows what he has to do. But there's little things, bumps here and there, where there are times when I do hit him by accident. Like I'll bump into him because I didn't realize
I've accidentally bumped into my nieces and nephews all at some point.
Time.
I have 2 nieces and 2 nephews.
Yes.
And all of them I've knocked over at some point when they were a little toddler.
Oh.
And they've all screamed and cried. And
you feel bad. And I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry.
And it's a terrible feeling.
It is a terrible feeling.
And then you try to look at them and they look confused and they're like, why'd you do that? And it's like, I didn't mean to.
You don't mean to. And it's like, and they're so young to really understand that I can't see well. And, there are times when they're like, well, you have to look. And I'm like, I did, buddy, but I didn't look down there. I was, doing the best I can. But, there's always bumps along the road. But I shouldn't say it gets easier, but I feel like I'm just doing the best I can and what's comfortable for me every day. And that's the way you want certain things around the house. We like to communicate. And I feel like communicating with my husband and my son a lot more about what is not, what's good for me, what's not good for me. So at least they know what you're feeling, what you need, right?
Yeah,
at the end of the day, I'm just trying to make it, I'm just doing the best I can. Every day is not going to be easy. Every day is a different day. But as long as they have an understanding of what you need, what you're able to see, what's not good for you, and so on, I mean, that's all that really matters, right?
I was going to ask you, do you think that children are more accepting of
Thank you for asking this.
disabilities than adults are?
I actually shared a lot more recently from my own personal experience that there's a lot more. My kid and children in general, I feel like they're more understanding, more compassionate than fucking adults. 100%.
Wow.
So I have a story that I'm going to tell you. So I was taking my son to his soccer class, and we took the bus. And we took the bus there, just me and him, just chilling. He was so excited to take the bus for the first time this year. And kids understand, and especially when you communicate with them about what mommy is going through, what I'm going through, and so on, they're able to understand. So we got on the bus. No one stood up for us. No one stood up, which is cool, whatever, because there's a few seats in the back. So we just worked along our way and kind of moved behind the bus. And
do people normally stand up?
Some people will stand up. Some people don't.
Yeah.
And I always say this to people where adults are sometimes very cruel. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit sometimes. And most of the time they don't. And I shouldn't say all the time, but sometimes, majority of the time, they don't give a shit about us. And it's a sad, sad world. So when we sat down, my son, he's so loud. He's like, "Mommy, you're supposed to sit there," because he saw the disability sign.
Yeah.
And he actually read it too, where these seats are reserved for so and so, right?
Yeah.
And then I said, "Don't worry about it." Yeah, he flat out so loud. He's like, "Mommy, you're supposed to sit there."
Yeah.
And then still no one fucking got up, right? Which I said, "Bronx, it's okay. We're sitting down already and we'll be fine." But that just shows the compassion in him, the understanding that those reserved seats are for people like us, for people that are older, pregnant women, who knows, right? He is able to understand now. Mm-hmm. He's 6 years old, but he's able to really understand. And when he called it out so loud on the bus, "Mom," because my son's loud like me, like his personality is all me. He's like, "Mommy, you're supposed to sit there." But no one got up. No one got up. And though for me is that as long as I'm raising a child, I'm raising him to be this way, to have the understanding that mommy is this way. There's so many of us that are this way, or other disabilities, that we need to be kind. We need to help them in any way, and just kind of have a better understanding that there's so many of us around the world, right? And to me, for him to say that, I'm doing a good job.
Yeah.
Because he knows that is for mommy. Those seats are for mommy and for people like us. But the adults never stood up, right?
It's unfortunate that, children with family members, or it kind of, what I've learned is it's kind of unfortunate that you have to know someone or have a disability yourself to kind of be empathetic.
Mm-hmm. I know.
And kind of aware of what the needs are and how to act around people. It's like, I think some people get terrified because they're not familiar with anyone who has, blindness or disability. So they kind of freeze up and just kind of don't say anything but if you have a friend or a loved one with something, it's like, it's not scary to you. It's just kind of unfortunate that disabilities tend to scare people, who aren't around them,
It scares people, but it also, I feel like the world just needs more of an understanding and more. This is why we're here, right? This is why we're sharing our story. And this is why there's so many of us that are really, truly advocating for our rights, for everything that we stand for, right? And I mean, it sucks that it scares people, or or more so people do know, but they just don't give a shit. And I think for me is more, I really do feel like people just don't give a shit because they're thinking about it's really just all for them. And I've had many people attack me or people saying over the years where, well, then don't go there. Why are you going to, let's say, a simple mall or something like that? Or why are you there then if you're going to complain? I'm not complaining that I'm here.
Yeah.
But I'm complaining is the fact that, like, if you see people like us, please be more, understanding. And why can't I be here? Why can't I also do these type of things?
Yeah, it's like you get to go there. You get to go there. Why can't I go there?
Exactly. And this is why more so where we
I want to go to a concert. I want to go to a coffee shop. I want to go to the movie theater. I want to,
But that's what I feel like that's what people want the disabled community or people like us to do though. But then
they expect that. Yeah.
They expect us to just not live. And this is it.
Or have a will to live, Yeah.
It's
like.
And that's why I am all about sharing everything that I can share about my life. And that's being a disabled, legally blind woman or just any aspect of my life. And this is why we share our stories, is because we want to change.
Yeah.
In hopes that, that we are also regular people who do so many incredible things, who likes many things, just like regular people. And people don't understand that. And it's just so annoying sometimes. But I'm like, why can't we do this? Why can't I, this is the ongoing topic of many things, but it is. It's why we share a journey, though. It's because we also matter.
Yeah. You don't, sometimes you feel like an alien on planet Earth,
I know,
like,
right?
It's like the blind is its own group of human, well, you're a blind.
You're blind. Why are you wearing that? Why are you using your phone? Why are you doing... And it's like, oh my gosh.
It's like, it's so weird. It's like, oh, you're supposed to have a certain sense of humor. You're supposed to have a certain sense of fashion. Supposed to have a certain personality. You have to, it's like they really do like create a character for you.
Yeah.
And then when you act like yourself and like for example, with you and you dress really well and carry yourself in a fun way. And you're out with your son, that's probably another thing too, where people are like,
"Oh, I've had that."
Are probably like,
"You're not able to take care of him."
How is she a mom if she's using a cane?
Yeah, I remember when he was very, very young. I took him to a park with the stroller and everything, and I've had that experience where people would come up to me and really ask questions, and then will say, "How are you able to take care of him? You can't be a mom." What do you mean I can't be a mom?
Wow. Yeah,
it's very hurtful. I've shared it many times over the years.
That would blow my mind.
Trust me. At first I was like angry tears. Yeah. And then I became like sad about it. And then afterwards I was okay with it. I was like, you know what? I'm making it happen. And it's just sad because this is what society is saying, or will see us in a way where you can't be this way because you're going through this and you're legally blind. But can you imagine with other people too, dealing with other disabilities? You can't be this way because you're, let's say, in a wheelchair or something, right?
Yeah.
How are you going to tell me that I can't be a mom? How are you going to tell me that I can't pick up my phone or my camera and take photos? I love taking photos. And I was recently in San Francisco, and I had a DM saying, "You're faking it because why are you taking so many photos?" I was like, dear fucking Lord. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And people don't understand is that these technologies now are super catered to us. It's what helps us.
Yeah.
Well,
it's like my mom has like 5 degrees of vision, and has been legally blind for years, and sometimes she'll take a photo and I'll be like, whoa, that's good.
Oh my gosh. I have 5. I'm also 5%. And when people you see these things up here, those are my photos. It's one of those things where they underestimate us. It's like, what the heck? Like if you've seen the way I capture things, I tell my husband all the time, this is how you take photos, okay? This is what you do, blah, blah, blah. Because everyone's always like, oh, your husband, because my husband takes my majority of my photos. And I tell him how to take photos because everyone's like, oh, Baz knows how to capture things. I'm like, I know he does, but it's because I teach him, right?
I'm laughing because I do the same thing with my wife. I'm like, I need to sign you up for a photography class.
Right?
Well, it's kind of funny because I know how to use cameras and like I was a videographer / editor.
That's amazing
for like
to hear.
6 years, and now I just edit because I'm able to just sit at my computer, and kind of make it happen. But like, I'm still good behind the camera, so it's like I'm still super good behind the camera. But I just didn't want the pressure of doing it professionally anymore.
Yes.
I didn't want to have to worry about being around clients or things like that. But so I know how to frame a photo, like the rule of thirds and all this stuff. And I know exactly what the background should be and how to get like a blurred background, what I want in the background, where I want to be positioned, how wide or tight I want the photo. I can see it in my mind before I take the photo. And then I'll hand my wife the phone and I'm like, get this shot of me. And then I look at it and I'm like, and it's almost like, and I try to be nice, but I'm like, how is that the photo
Lance,
that you thought I
with you. This is a funny topic. I am with you with this because everyone's always praising my husband, and I do praise him too. He's learning and he's gotten a lot better. But but people really don't understand is that I know what I'm looking for. Like I know what the vision is. But then because I'm legally blind, it's like no. They don't give us that credit. But it's like
look at Ann Mock, like her photography.
Yes,
is incredible.
It's incredible. She's an amazing. Oh, I love her. But like that's what I mean. And whenever we're traveling or whenever we're going somewhere, I'm always like, this is what you need. This is what looks good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm the same way with my husband, and he's always just like, oh my gosh, Mara, come on. And I'm like, no, but seriously, look at your photo versus mine. But people just don't understand is that technology and the way we love certain things, it's like, it's for us. And a lot of things have changed now with technology, and it is for us. We're allowed to take photos. We're allowed to do all these things. And just because we can't see well, and it doesn't mean that there's no way around it. Like I recently
don't be mad that I'm legally blind and take better photos than you.
Okay, for example, I know that's 100%. So I did this event for my reporter job and we went painting. So, I told the host, I said, I want to try this, but is there a way we can make the stencil and everything a lot bigger and brighter so that it can help me, guide how I'm painting my portrait?
Yeah.
So I brought a friend. Oh my gosh, like he knows this, how my painting, hands down, was a lot better than his. And it's because I feel like you have that vision, and if you have some way of helping you to do something.
Pre-visualize it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like you see it before you want to do it, and then you try to make what you see in your mind.
Exactly. And that's the same thing with these things that are coming out now with technology, where it is a huge help. It is a huge help for all of us, but people just don't understand that. And they think that, well, why are you able to use that? Why are you able to? And also people don't understand is that people with vision loss or any type of eye condition, we still see a little bit of something. We're not completely blind. It is a struggle, but.
Yeah, 100%. I remember my dad telling me a story about he was in like Home Depot or something like that. And he was looking for an aisle for a certain item.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, it's aisle 6. See, it says it there, you know, and he's just like, was kind of dumbfounded. He's like, how did you see that? You know? And
I know.
it's like,
I've had that
there's
many
moments like that where I'm around my mom and I'm like, you know, I'll drop something on the floor and I'm trying to find it. And then she'll be like, it's right there by your foot. And I'm like, oh yeah, you beat me to it, even though I have, you know, way more vision than you.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you know, it's just the right conditions, you know, the right feeling, and
I've had those.
you're gonna surprise people.
I know. I've had the stories like that too. I've had experiences where I would see something, and then some family members are like, "What? How did you do that? How did you see that?" You know. And then I feel, but with your mom, I feel like, because I always say, moms just knows it all, and moms will always be there. Because I do the same sometimes to my son. I'm like Bronx, it's right there. Bronx, it's right there, or, you know. And I just feel like that connection you and your mom have, he should probably just know. She's just watching out for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. Me and my mom are really close.
That's really nice. And
yeah.
Oh man, like that's really nice that you have that connection and understanding that your mom is also, you know, with vision loss and everything. It's nice that our families fully understand that what you're feeling.
Yeah.
But sometimes it is frustrating that, oh, I didn't see that, or this and that, because they're not in my shoes. But this is why the beauty of like really connecting with you or connecting with our community is that they fully understand.
Yeah.
You know, or your mom fully understands your struggles because she's going through it too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like, I remember when I was diagnosed, I was young and I wasn't really experiencing symptoms, but they were able to tell through the test they did that I had RP.
Yeah.
And my mom like was crying, but I was kind of like confused. I'm like, why is mom crying? You know, because she was, you know, she was feeling like grief over the feeling of like passing it on.
I know. And that's what I think I'm happy we're talking about this, because not many understand. I feel for your mom, because I'm in the same position where I don't even know. Like, I get scared when Bronx would be like, oh, I can't see. And automatically I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, does he have, because we don't know yet. We don't know yet with Bronxy.
Yeah, same with my sister, my niece, you know, she's young, and, you know, but my sister had a 50-50, you know, basically shot of passing it on. So, you know, my niece has a 50% chance. So if I have children, there'll be a 50% chance, you know, that, you know, my children will have RP.
And it's
so it's kind of like,
it's scary. It's scary for us. You know, we want to obviously.
You're probably hyper focused on like what he sees in, like, you know,
Lance, trust
something
me.
that's probably normal. You're probably like, oh, is that RP? You know?
Oh my gosh, my husband will be like, Mara, chill. Mara, chill. Like, he's fine. And but I always remind him. I go, but you don't know what I feel.
Yeah.
And when I try to tell my story about making a change and I want the world to be a better world, is because these children that are going through vision loss, if we're already having a hard time and people are so mean to us and not having a better understanding, how much more for these kids?
Yeah.
And I feel for the kids. And it is a scary feeling where I don't know what our son's future will be like. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whenever he complains about, I didn't see that, or you know, certain things. And the moment he had glasses, because I started wearing glasses when I was young, I also got scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's in my mind. I'm like, it's happening.
Yeah.
But then my husband will be like, just chill, right? Relax. Like, you know, stop thinking about the negative things. But this is what goes on in our minds, is because it could be passed down.
Yeah.
And not many understand the scary feeling that we go through.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, because it's hard coded into us. You know, it's almost like, you know, so there's no way around it.
There's no way around it.
I would say, if anything, like, you should find some relief in how technology is improving and how,
Yeah.
You know, all these medical things are in the works, and AI is kind of changing things, and tech's getting better. And also, if he does, he'll have you as a resource, you know, to kind of teach him the ways. So it's like he's going to be in a much better place if he has it than you
Yeah.
are. You
Is
know,
that how
no
you
offense.
feel with, I know. But this is why, okay, because like I don't know anybody in my family, or I don't even, it's one of those things where it's off and on in terms of like doing testing with my parents of where did it come from, which side of the family, this and that. So,
Yeah.
but I know in my mind, I'm like, I don't even give a fuck about that. All I care is that I have it, that now I have a kid. It's a 50, like he could have it, right?
Yeah, it started. So RP, as far as I know, started with my mom. So she was the first. There's some theories that maybe some great parents had.
Yes,
you know,
that was our
something.
theory. That was our theory,
Yeah,
right?
but I will say this: it seems though that people who are the first to be diagnosed, it's like a lot harder for them to process than someone who has family members, because we are exposed to it very young, you know,
Yeah.
versus it's more of a surprise, full on, you know, surprise for some people, you know, like it was for you, you know,
Yeah.
so it's a lot to process. It's a lot to process all at once. Whereas like for me, I got to process it a little bit this day, a little bit that day, a little bit that day, you know, growing up, you know, so
Yeah.
it's like, kind of like exposure therapy, where you're like slowly exposed.
Slowly
So
exposed.
it's like, for example, your son kind of knowing where your cane is and just seeing a cane regularly.
Yeah.
If he ever had to use a cane, it's not going to be terrifying to him. He's gonna be like, this is
'Cause he's
familiar to me.
Familiar, exactly.
But if someone handed you a cane the day you were diagnosed and said, all right, you have to use this now, it would feel like almost painful to even see the cane.
I'm
you
so
know?
happy you brought that up. Because it's exactly what I felt. And then now it gives
Yeah.
me a little bit of a better, you know, feeling a little better about if, let's say, Bronx has it, right? We don't know.
Yeah.
And, oh, he's coming up. But it makes me feel a little better of that, because I'm happy to hear that you and your mom have that connection and
Yeah.
you grew up this way, right? Because you're right. All these years, people just fucking thought I was clumsy. Growing up,
Yeah,
Mara is this person, this and this and that.
Same.
And then,
My mom said the same thing too.
yeah. And then early 20s, I was like, oh my gosh, I really do feel like something's wrong. But I didn't know what was
Yeah.
going on until I was fully diagnosed. Okay, now we have an answer. You know, and then
Yeah.
here's your right cane. Here's what to expect. And it's like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot. It's a lot.
how
all at
old was
once.
your mom, if you don't mind me asking?
I think she was in her early 30s when she was diagnosed. Cause
Yeah, I was in my late
she would
20s.
She would go to the movie theater
It was so fucking dark.
and not.
I hated
and not
it.
be able to see anything. And then she kind of, it clicked at some point. She's like, people can see in here, and I can't see anything.
That was
And then
mine.
you know,
'Cause night
and then
blindness
that's when
was
she went,
hard.
and they were like, you have RP.
Exactly, because I
Yeah.
was like, holy shit, how come movie theaters seem so dark? I can't see anything.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I was like, okay, I don't even see anything when I'm looking straight, like looking straight at something, and then I don't see anything around. So I told my husband, I was like, or I told at that time, my boyfriend, I was like, I feel like something's fucked, like something's wrong, right?
Yeah.
And then finally, after many, many tests and all these, you know, months and so on go by, I'm like, I have an answer. I am not clumsy. I just really couldn't see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was late 20s, and I feel so much better. Not sure to say so much better, but I feel very good about knowing your story with your mom and what my future could be, and especially with my son. You know, and because I've never really met anybody. Because, like I said, I'm the first one in my family.
Yeah, I think that I hate to say it. I hate that's how it is, but it's the first timers have it way harder.
And I'm happy you mentioned that, because you're right. It's like, this is what's going on. There's this and this and this and that. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I know. It's a lot. It's again, it's life-changing news, and then you have no familiarity, whereas now we kind of take it for granted how familiar we are now, like especially like being part of the blindness community online and having a network of people and friends that we are friends with, and me doing this podcast, interviewing so many people, you kind of take it for granted how familiar we are with everything now. But at one point in time, everything was brand new and everything seemed scary.
Yeah.
And and that's what I tell people. It's like, if you don't want it to feel scary, then you kind of have to immerse yourself in it. You kind of have to just kind of make some friends with your disability, learn about it, read about it, start thinking about it. You got to actively process it versus suppress it. You got to really take the time, or else, you're going to get stuck. You have to take the time to grieve and have that dark period like you had.
To really
But you also don't
want
to prolong it. You don't want to stay there.
Oh, I didn't
forever either.
Thank God I didn't stay there. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be chatting away with you and just, meeting you. And I'm so happy. So I'm very thankful.
Well, this has been great.
This has been great. I hope we get a chance to connect again and really just chat away, because I'm very, very happy to hear your connection with your mom. And I'm kind of, I have a lot more questions.
I was able to help you.
I know, I'm happy.
You were able to help me. You made me feel better. And then I'm glad that I was able to help you. Usually I don't get to help my guests. Usually I'm just learning and absorbing from my guest.
But this is the beauty about meeting people and really connecting. I'm a firm believer where there was a reason why we were able to do this and to finally get a chance to talk, is because I love learning and always getting to know people. And I always take something in, and I took a lot from you, and I'm happy that I'm able to now really learn from you. And that's the beauty about friendships. And I'm happy we met.
Yeah. Let's definitely stay in touch and keep helping each other,
Dude, I feel like we can talk for hours.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It flies by, it flies by.
I know, I'm so sorry we have to end it. But I could talk to you and chill and whatever, and just really, hang out. And I'm very, very honored to be on this show.
Well, I'm honored to have you as a guest, and thanks for taking the time out of your busy day to come and speak to me. It means a lot. And this episode rolled, and it was one of my favorite conversations I've had.
You're not just saying that, right? You're not just saying that.
I'm not just saying that. It's been wonderful. So
yeah, it's been very, very
wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for everything.